Now, the former Lady-in-Waiting, Lady Susan Hussey, has been pictured with the King for the first time since resigning from her Buckingham Palace role last November. It comes as the King reportedly asks the Archbishop of Canterbury to broker a deal to allow Harry to attend the coronation. Well, let's speak to the royal historian and broadcaster Rafe Heydel-Mankoo for his thoughts on all of this. And look, the royal family have been very, very close to Lady Susan Hussey for decades. Indeed, her service to Her Majesty would be sort of up there with the top 5 ladies-in-waiting, probably. Were you surprised to see them shoulder to shoulder at church at Sandringham yesterday? No, because we understood that after she made this meeting with Ngozi Fulani and, in my opinion, needlessly apologised to her, after that happened, we understand that she is now going to be invited to the coronation as well. So she's gradually being invited back into the royal fold. As you say, she's Prince William's godmother. She was part of HMS Bubble, which was the protective shield around the Queen, and she accompanied the Queen alone to the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh, so very much part of the royal household. She's been treated very shabbily by everybody and all parties, almost all parties in this, and I would hope, actually, that one might hope at some point in the future she'll be reinstated to her role as Lady of the Household, because at the end of the day, anyone who knows this lady knows she doesn't have a racist bone in her body. You just have to go to the church she attends every Sunday in Kennington with a majority black congregation. All she was doing was going about her duties, you know, and if you arrive at an event dressed up like an extra from The Lion King, don't be surprised if someone asks you about where you're from, particularly if her job is to actually find out background information on somebody, so when a member of the royal family comes, they can be introduced correctly. I mean, I don't think she was necessarily looking like a bit part from a musical. I mean, she was wearing her national dress. No, it wasn't national. She wasn't wearing national dress, actually. She was wearing an outfit she put together as an ensemble. OK, but I mean, which was from the West Africa, presumably, which is her heritage. And we won't get into an argument about that, but I think that could be contested. I'm interested, though, in what's happening with the coronation. The King has spoken frequently of his love for Prince Harry. He's clearly worried about the tension between his sons. Do you think the Archbishop of Canterbury will be able to solve this? Well, it's not the first time that Justin Welby has been drafted in. In September, he was brought in to try to reconcile things to a degree after the Queen's death. However, on this occasion, Prince William seems very resistant, and I can certainly understand why. The logic from Buckingham Palace seems to be that essentially not having Harry there is more dangerous than having him there. Do you agree with that? And I can't see the logic there. For my mind, the adage really should be out of sight, out of mind. Right. All focus must be on the coronation, must be on the King and Queen, and I don't see why they would want to risk photographs of Harry and Meghan challenging photographs of the newly crowned King and Queen on the front pages. It would be a major distraction. And that is William's view in all of this, isn't it? But, I mean, you only have to look at the funeral of Her Majesty the Queen. They towed the line, didn't they? They did as they were expected to do. And the danger is if they don't come to the coronation, that Harry will be tapped up by one of the big American networks, that they will be slighted, that will give them lots of material for future expositions of the royal family. And he's already threatened, hasn't he, that there's a second book that he could pen. I mean, it's a risk to keep him out of the fold. Yeah, I mean, there's no simple solution to any of this, because if they come, though, one of the risks, and I think this is a risk Prince William understands, is that they'll try to grandstand on the occasion, perhaps go to a deprived London borough, be seen with at food banks and so forth, and again, trying to take the limelight away from what is actually the most important constitutional and ceremonial event that we have. It's been 70 years since the last coronation, but this is much bigger than attending a royal wedding or attending a funeral. This is really about the new king coming into place, making his mark upon the monarchy, putting his own stamp and introducing him to the world. And actually, these events are the rare occasions when a nation is supposed to come together in a positive atmosphere, in a positive vibe. And this just brings a dark cloud and a negativity and a distraction from what should be a very happy occasion. The other point that's very much worth making is also that Prince Harry's not going to just come over out of his goodwill. He's going to want concessions for coming over. Now, we know that he said in the past that in his interviews he's wanted an apology from the royal family as a prerequisite to a reconciliation. And I think one of the worries also is that he's going to demand that for the coronation, demand that his titles not be removed from him in the future. I mean, for someone who detests the royal family, he's very keen on his royal titles, we know that. So there's a lot of issues here which I think... I mean, we know, for example, that 2/3 of the British public apparently want him to attend
attend the coronation. But I think if the question was actually phrased, should the king make concessions for Prince Harry to attend the coronation, I think the result might be very different.
But let's not forget, the king is head of the Church of England, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, of course, would be promoting Christian values and at its core would want to see reconciliation happen between the brothers. I suppose the question is whether or not they're able to do that. And I suppose we'll just have to see. Time will tell on that one. OK, Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, always good to get your thoughts. Thanks very much indeed.